So the basic important in the thing is how exactly we should raise a good question, how to raise a good research question, and how we should revisit, revise this particular question till you come into your right plan, and how to consider an appropriate method for investigating the research question. This is the whole thing, or what is totally going to be covered in this 1.5 days work. There is a little difference between an enquiry and a research. So this is what the definition is. When it comes to an enquiry, it is actually a systematic examination of facts, principle. That is what we call research. When it comes to an enquiries, you are more going to look into the issues and facts on what exactly has happened or what are exactly likely to happen. Whereas in research, you go for a systematic examination of facts or principles, and you go to a set of studies in which you will be able to make a note of it. Other way to define the research or enquiry is, it's an investigation or experimentation aimed to discover or interpret a fact. So you are likely to discover a new fact, or you are going to identify or interpret a certain observation, whether it is true or not true. The other way around for a research is also to revision of an accepted theories. There may be already an accepted fact, you would like to re-look into that whether it is right or not. The other part of the research or enquiries are once again a practical application of such new or revised theories. So these all constitute a research which is little different from an inquiry. In an inquiry, what you try to look is, you try to figure out, you need to explore, you need to find out what could be the things. Once you find it out, then you need to implement and prove the fact. That becomes a process of research or a research methods. So why a research question is important or critical? Because if you have crafted your question very well, you are likely to get a right answer. For example, I will be taking 2 studies which we are planning to for all of you to work with our other 2 doctors. See, basically we are trying to work on 2 aspects with reference to a disease called rheumatoid arthritis. In that, what we are trying to figure out is, one fact is that, do we have an instrument or a measure which can capture the episodes that happen in between the 2 patient visits? That's one question. The other question that what we were trying to address is that, is a set of rheumatoid arthritis who respond faster or quicker do better than any other factors which influences the outcome in rheumatoid arthritis? Why are these questions? What is the reason for these questions? The question we are trying to work it out because we see over a period of time that the patient who do well in the very first few visits do well in the long run in his follow-up. Is that the right reason, or is there something more? These are these patients who come very early to the outpatient, or these are the patients who have a low rheumatoid factor titer, or are these patients who have any other positive or a good prognostic factor who responded well? Is it that the response rate is what is totally different from the other factor which would have otherwise influenced the rheumatoid arthritis? So the question, first primary question what you have is the rapid response is a good indicator that the patient is going to do well, or the other study that what we are trying to work is that, is there a good instrument which can figure out or capture the incidence that happens between the 2 visits of the patients. So one is trying to discover or make a set of method to identify or measure the things that happens between the 2 episodes. Another is a question which tries to explore the relationship between what may happen and what can happen over a period of time. So here you need to start refining the questions. Once you have a question in mind, now you need to look for what should be the precise question. What is the question? The observation is, we have seen patients who do well in a long run. is that is the only reason which tells us that patient doing well is okay, and you can tell him with a loud voice, yes, you are going to do well in the rest of the time? Or is there some other factor which is responsible or critically influencing the processes? So similarly, what you would like to capture between the two sides. So you need to refine your questions to the best so that your answers are more clear. I think you might have even experienced when a question paper is given to you in a regular theory examination, if the question is very vague, you are not able to answer as good or as better as when the question is very precise. If the question vaguely asks approach to a ABCD disease, you have a very vague way to answer. It's very difficult to answer such a vague question where you say, how do you approach rheumatoid arthritis? It's a very difficult question to say. You are not very sure what the examiner wants. Does he want, how does he examine the patient? Does he want, how do you treat the patient? Does he want, how do you investigate the patients? Or what does he exactly want? In the end of the day, you may land up in writing all of that. So if the question is precise, how do you investigate a patient with rheumatoid arthritis? Your answers will be precise. I think it just this generalization applies even when you are designing your research question. Research question should be as precise as possible, and it should avoid as much of ambiguity as much as possible, so that your answer is more precise and more clear. So that's why defining a question is one of the very critical steps in planning out your entire research process. So that's why we say as well-crafted question guides the systematic planning of the research. You start planning a research in a very systematic manner once your question becomes more clear. Beyond any doubt, a question will always start vague. So you may start with a simple question. So you might have observed certain things and you would like to work on the questions. So you will be slowly going to refine step by step, avoiding the questions which may not be directly answering it. Split the questions and try to define the questions. So as I said, a good research question will be clearly linked to overall project goal. So as I said, in these two areas, you will be very clearly defining. You are trying to make your point clear, early response to the treatment and the outcome of patients with rheumatoid arthritis. Or you are going to say measuring the disease process and activity between the two visits of the patient to the clinical sites. So your question has to be precise and should be on to the goal or on to the dot. And it should also allow the target population to be identified. So now in your questions, you need to be very, very clear what are the likely problems. So here at least it's very clear you are now looking at patients who are suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. So the next question comes is the patient who visits frequently in the other project. So you are trying to make the point clear that who are the target population, but it needs to be still more further refined. Whether the questionnaire you are going to have it generalized to literate, illiterate, whether the other socioeconomic status, people who cannot understand, who can understand, are you going to encompass all those things should be more clear as you start defining your questions. And it should guide the appropriate level of aggregations, in a sense whether basically this is when it comes to a research thesis or something like that, will it gets into your level of aggregations. In a sense, being a non-medical profession, you may not be able to get into and invade into a medical research unless you have another association or curriculum, whether that institution has a provision or look into that, and all those areas also should add into your questionnaire. So the question should be able to, and your question should be clear and it should identify the possible outcome variables. In a sense, what is the outcome? As I said, your outcome variable in the first one is already addressed. It clearly says what is there a good response and a long-standing response is the patient who respond early. The question answers both of that. What is the goal and what is the outcome variable you are trying to look at it. And you should also help in key predictors of those variables. That comes as a part and parcel of elaborating the questions. What are the other variables you would like to look when you are trying to analyze them. and it collect the data, how you are going to proceed in collection of the data and informations, and also should help you to define the number of subjects who are going to participate in the study, who are going to participate in the study. I think I will be addressing all these questions one by one over a course of time. When you are trying to work on a research, it looks for a sort of a systematic thinking process. What I try to say is, I think you might have worked out how it goes in. Once the question is raised, say now you are now trying to say that you are going to work on developing an instrument, or you are going to work on to find out is it a good predictable factor. The moment you have a question, the work starts by gathering the informations. You start working on, is there any similar kind of module which is already available? If already existing, there is no point in working on that. If it is there something which is going to make a problem for you to use that particular instrument in your study and understanding? What is the difference? What could be the problem which is more focused on? These information gathering will help you to refine your methods, or if it is already done, best to avoid doing that particular studies. And it is not just gathering. In a sense, it's not just you go on gathering. You just say that, now we say the instrument used in rheumatoid arthritis in between. You just go on gathering is not what it is matter. You need to assemble the information and try to analyze the information. Is it applicable and how does it address your question? So these relationship, if you go on doing it, then it's going to work out better. That's what I have made point clear is, in research, it is not just gathering the information, it is collating the information, whether what you have gathered and what you are trying to work it out, does it match to the question, how does it address the things in questions. See, this is one thing. We try to use two different words. We use research and evaluations. Research is different from evaluation. What is the difference between a process of evaluations? See, there is a lot of difference. Some people say that evaluation is as good as a research. For example, audit. You do an audit in a clinical setting for a 1 year audit. Is audit a research? But audit is not a research. Audit is a evaluation process. And what we do in audit is you run through the process that has happened. You try to figure out what are the events that has happened, and you are trying to address what should have been done, and then you figure out what will be better if it is work further process. It's a process of evaluation. You are trying to evaluate what exactly has been done. So that's why we never use an audit as a research. Audit is accepted for publication in a research journal, but usually with a little of resistance. They always say that this is an audit and this is not a research paper. The reason is, in audit, what we try to figure out is how this many number of patients were handled in this particular institute. What was the number of adverse reaction you had for ABCD drugs, and how was these monitored in the day-to-day care. For example, if the patient is on leflunomide, blood pressure was never tested in the last 1 year of his visit, probably the audit tells you that there was an error. The reason is leflunomide can produce hypertension as one of the adverse reaction over the period of time. It is expected 5% of the patients who use leflunomide to develop hypertension secondary to the drug. So the audit or evaluating process tells you that this was an error and this should have been done. So it clearly says the 100 patients who were started in leflunomide on the day 1 of the audit, and at the end of the day 10% of them were found to develop hypertension, which could have been picked up if the blood pressure was checked in their each visits. So that's the evaluation. But that also gives you an answer to some of the research methods or a research observation. But that process is called evaluation because it is not guided by any research principle. It is guided by audit processes. There is a method, there is a technique for auditing. There is a set guidelines in which a medical audit has to be done. There is a set guideline in which a research audit has to be done. And that audit process has to be followed. That's what we call as evaluation. When it is done in a specific method, if you wanted to observe that how many of the patients of leflunomide develop hypertension. Even if you go on an observational basis, if it has a research method, we expect the team to measure blood pressure every visit he comes. And in every visit you record his blood pressure, you see around 100 patients, you figure out how many of them develop hypertension. That's a research method. Why we say the dichotomy is sometimes both look same. See, if you see, the audit has addressed the same issue. Audit also gave an observation to say that 5% of the patients who were on leflunomide in rheumatoid arthritis developed hypertension. And even your research method also showed the same thing. The end game is the results may be the same, but the methods are different. And the implications are also going to be different. The implication of an audit is to say how the thing should have been. The research will say that what would happen. So there is a little of dichotomy between two, that sometimes, as it is written, well-constructed evaluation or an audit process may address a good research question too. So an audit also may give you a very good addressable research question, and it may need to be re-evaluated in a process, an addressable research methodology. So how to do the research? I mean, it's actually not that it's the domain of any fellow who has to just do the research. Research can be done as you are working, as you are practicing. You can do both the jobs simultaneously. You need not have an extraordinary brain. Only what you require is an extraordinary inclination to do the research. See, what we have to do is, as and when you get a time, go through the papers, read papers, attend conference, attend seminars. Be inquisitive. Why not this? Why can't be this? Why can't I do little more better than what is happening? So we all know we are frustrated in treating some of the rheumatoid patients. Can we do little more better to them? So what we say is, we say play around with your own problems. You have facing some problem in your day-to-day practice. Work around that problems. How exactly to resolve these problems? This is not just unique to medicine. This is even for a research and a marketing research, even for talking to the patients, even in politics, everywhere. This is how it can be worked. Say for example, there is a marketing group. He need to listen to the marketing strategies, read the papers on marketing, work on the marketing, play around the problems. Why my product is not getting sold in the market? What is the problem with the specific product which I am selling? So then you can try to figure out probably the acceptability of the persons who are trying to buy is not good. Then the next question comes is, why is it not good? So then that creates or makes a lot of problems to come out. Then once the problem comes out, he will be able to get back to figure out what are the problems and how to address these problems. So once you get how to address the problem, systematically if you work, you will be able to get it, whether not to continue with this product or how to promote this product in a better manner. So the research is not just confined to the medical field. The same techniques and methods can be applied to any other methods. So what we need to do is, you need to go around the papers, go to the conferences, go to the seminar. In addition to meeting your friends and peers, you also can always look into what is new. Is it going to ask the question that you are working with? Is there something good? And then go on playing around your problems. It's always best to keep few problems. There are a lot of problems. Keep only few problems what you can address, and try to work on those problems. As you go on working on the problems, you will be able to create and change or make your question more definable. Once it comes to a definition, it becomes much more easier. So what does this helps? It shows what problems are interesting, what are known, and it may sometimes give the technique how to solve the problems. So some of the similar, like for example, if you are now trying to work interval between the two conditions. There are in epilepsy, there are a way they are trying to capture, and say in other diabetes, there is a way in which they are capturing, and even in hypertension, they are trying to capture in between the two visits. So how are they capturing the things that is happening between the two visits to a physician, the problems of these chronic diseases? These things are going to help you to design your instrument or your questionnaires. Sometime, as I said, this may be the inspiring place where you may get a good, brilliant idea which could help you to proceed further in the research. Problems and creating and changing your own problems, because this has to be inculcated by ourselves. How exactly, what exactly if I do, this particular solution may come. So what I say is, this will provide the constant energy for us to work on these creating sources and areas. So what do we mean by playing around with your problems? Problems given to you, or you know there is an answer, try to work on solutions and techniques. Usually it may be either sometime given in class, books, and sometimes you may see a solution coming to you when you are watching a movie. So just to give a simple example, I was trying to work out on how to collate or how to match the immune system cells when it is trying to work out when it comes to rheumatoid or SLE. So because we are working on a theoretical model to build upon how T cell, B cell are the group of cells which are active in SLE, how to define their processes into a statistics and numbers. Surprisingly, when I was sitting a week before, when I was watching in one of the criminal maths, I think there is one serial comes as criminal maths. In that, the whole story was about an FBI where they were trying to use a mathematician's help to track the movement of a criminal gang. So he was trying to work on a simple statistical method. I think it is Mark Planck's equation. It is supposed to be an integral equation which has been designed and for application of mass movements of the molecules or herds or group of animals. What it tries to integrate is, when it comes to, he was trying to explain that, a very nice explanation was being given, where he was trying to say that if a herd of zebra in an African forest, if it starts moving from point A to point B, what are the factors which influences the migration of this particular group? Number one, the availability of the food. Number two, the predator's offense. Number three, the availability of the water. And number four, there are various other factors which can. Now, if a predator comes from the left, where does it run? If the predator comes from the right, where does it run? What is the type of predator which influences them to run faster? All these factors, when it is integrated into that equation, it can predictably say, at least with a 95% accuracy, in what direction this herds is going to move over a period of time. So based on this equation, he was trying to help them out that what are all the factors which influences this gang to move from Mexican to American subcontinent and across the countries. So based on these facts, we should be able to predict at least 5 places where this gang may occupy at a specified point of time. So if that information is available, that is a fair enough for the cops to capture in those areas, in whatever the forum, and capture these group of criminals. So in a sense, what I am trying to say is, when you are trying to figure out a solution to technique may come from anywhere. So what may be useful, what may be applicable, when you have your problem in your mind, may flash out how exactly a solution may come. So once the problems comes, once you have some solution, probably it's not just you can work out with how a clear or a clean solution can come over a period of time. So these are a general principle for especially a new research group is never be afraid to change the problem or questions. It's only when you put a thesis, they usually ask you to stick to the thesis, but I can tell you the committee can also allow you to revise it. There is a provision for you to revise a thesis question, and you can always revise a thesis question. What you have meant in the beginning may be rewritten and said that this is what we could finally address. So you should be able to revise the question that has come in your mind, and you should always try to first solve that small trivial problems, because sometimes they become the big projected problem over a period of time. Like as I said, when you are trying to draw the instrument, is this instrument useful for a literate, illiterate? Is this instrument be used by a person who knows internet? Should I design a separate for internet? Should I have a separate one for it? But if it is separate, what are the problems? The problem is, if it is you, then internet fellow becomes a separate group, the fellow who is literate becomes a separate group, illiterate becomes a separate group. Then how to resolve this? This is a very trivial issue which looks like, but we need to look into what is this issue, because now what is the large number of population you get? The majority of the population who get currently in Indian scenario are illiterates, or they know the regional language, or they know maximum to sign, but they are in the account books of the government as literates. So they may not be able to elaborate and understand what exactly the questionnaire you are going to present me. So then your instrument should be so designed to capture more number of patients into your group. So that's why your questionnaire or whatever the instrument you are going to design should be applicable to the large group. So when you are looking at the large group, you are looking at the illiterates who are also become the large chunk with the current population that we are going to work out with. So it may be a trivial problem, but you need to work on each of these issues and try to find out simplest possible solutions and see if you can solve it. If you cannot, take the help. So what we meant in a research is get as much information as possible, put them together. Then once you make these puzzles into one place, you get a good question to answer, and based on these questions you can build up the research method or research design. So the first thing once the question is arised is to lay a groundwork. So you need to first make a groundwork, what and where you are going to work, and strategic thinking is to be made more clear, and you should appreciate the research as a construct. You structure the whole thing, and you may have to go through the complexities, but try to reduce the complexities as less as possible, because more simple, more straightforward is your question, more likely you will be able to answer. So by developing strategies for staying on the top of the process. In a sense, if you clearly develop a question and the strategies to answer, you will be able to answer these questions. This is just the pile of those plastic glass made by my younger daughters. You can see that it requires a lot of effort to do that. One fan wind can blow it off, but still the whole strategy has to be worked out, how to build these castles. The most critical question in any research is developing the research questions that can have a direct methods, and you should know what you want to know. That's the most clear in your questions. Once they are clear, you will be able to work with questions. So in that, what you need to see is what is your question, why is your questions, who is the subjects, where are you going to work, and when are you going to work. So this is the research questions addendum which you need to see. The objective should be clearly defined, and what are the likely questions that you are going to address, and why are you working, what's the purpose, and is the purpose is going to give you an explanation. See, the reason is why we need an instrument which measures in between the two visits. The reason is the current methods are not serving to capture what happens in between the two visits. The second thing is we are now getting the drugs which can give a good control of the disease process. So now we need to see whether the control is also good in between. And why we need the other project is we need to answer the question to the patient, because patient keep on pestering about it. Am I going to be okay? How long I am going to be okay? Is this okay? So can I at least answer in his second or third visit these questions? These are the purpose, and you need to know what is expected. And I always say that it's not that because your boss or your institution is interested to work with it, you have to work with it, but it's always better to keep your interest. Of course, sometimes you need to take the guide or the institution where you work, because sometimes the institutions have a policies for them to work on along, and so that you learn it and then you need to pursue your interest. It is always the questions which seeks answers, and over a period of time your research may get commercialized, may not get commercialized, but someone has to have some questions addressed, because that's how the science keeps moving. And the other important thing is with whom you work. Your question, when you are saying, never be under the impression that you alone is going to answer these questions. You need a teamwork. The whole research work is a teamwork. So there may be someone to help you to write, there may be someone to synthesize the data, there are people who will be able to help you to collect the data, there are people who are able to help you to analyze and synthesize the data. Now, as I was trying to tell you, that integral mathematical equation, I can tell you head and tail I don't understand, because I was trying to see that particular things. That equation is a very complex equation. So what I got to do is now is to hunt down for a person who is an expert in integral mathematics, take his help to understand that, put my thought into him, probably he will be able to give you the exact analysis of the data that we have to get the output out. So you need to find with whom you should work, and we should make it a habit to work as a team, because this is something which we Indians are missing. I think over a period of time we need to develop. Any work is a teamwork. It's not that one man can resolve everything. So we need to pick up the experts or even less experts to help you out in resolving the questions that comes. And where are you going to work? See, that's one of the most important things, because if you have a question to address, you need to work at a place where you can really work for it. You cannot sit in a science degree college and work on medical science other than working on bioinformatics. If you have to do a real work on patients or etc., you need to move into the hospital. So sitting in a rheumatology center, you will not be able to work on diabetes, obviously, because you get less number of patients who are diabetic. So you need to choose the place, and you also need to choose whether you have all the instruments, all the equipments in place. If not, how exactly you are going to make things around. If you really want to work, the horizon opens to you. You need to start exploring how to work, how exactly to work, and from the questions you need to look forward to answer. And you need always to have a time frame to complete the work. That helps you. Of course, you should have a flexibility, but the time frame will help you to close down to the question and answers. And that's how your question, a research question, should, when you are trying to develop, it should start with a vague observation. Try to precise and pinpoint to the questions. Once you get or develop a question, try to figure out what are all the things which are small trivial problems, define, redefine, and if things become worse, you can change the question that you are trying to work with, and then try to slowly build on that entire questions, how you try to resolve the question to translate into an answer. Your answer may be commercializable, you may get a patent which may takes your life through, or at least you have a satisfaction of doing a good contribution to the science. Thank you very much.